So, hello everyone, and welcome to this special technical session. Today, within this video, our goal is simple. We want to help developers uh, understand what Safrochain is, why it matters, and most importantly, how they can start building up on it. Whether you are a blockchain dev or a Web2 developer exploring Web3, or simply curious about the ecosystem, the session is designed to give you a particular starting point. So to help us navigate the technical side of the ecosystem, I'm joined today by Dan and Janti, who will walk us through the key concepts, the tools, the opportunities available for builders within the supply chain ecosystem. So now I'll just give them the mic for a brief uh, introduction. We want to know who they are within the Safrochain ecosystem. We can start with Mr. Janti.
Thank you very much, Martin. I apologize for the noise. I'm outside and I'm attending this using my mobile, so hopefully the network will be okay. My name is Genty Samvura. I'm the co-founder and CEO of the Safrochain network. I've been in the blockchain space technically since 2018, but more involved since 2020. And I'm here basically to go over all the technical aspects of the Safrochain to encourage developers to join the network. Thank you.
Dan, it's up to you.
Yeah, thank you again, Martin, and thank you for this opportunity to present ourselves. My name is Dan Baruka. I'm a co-founder and CTO at Safrochain. I am a software engineer, so that's my role in the project. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for making it brief. So let's go for it. So the very first question will be, what is Safrochain? What problem is Safrochain solving? And like, why should developers pay attention today to Safrochain? I'll let Genty go for this.
Thank you very much, Martin. So at Safrochain, what we attempted to solve was, first of all, to make a network that is accessible. Accessibility in the sense that currently, in order to participate on the blockchain, you first of all have to be connected to the internet. And if you are connected to the internet, to acquire a token, to acquire funds, involves sometimes relying on centralized exchanges that are far away from the common users in Africa. And also the accessibility is also in terms of access to the technical stack. Apologize for the noise. But the technical stack, again, is what made us think about Safrochain. We made a network that is accessible for validators to join, both in terms of technical requirements, which are quite low, not too much memory required, not too much technical skills required. You basically can run it via a simple command. And we did not want to build from scratch. We relied on a tested Cosmos SDK ecosystem to launch Safrochain so that we can focus on the business solutions instead of spending too much resources on the technical side. So we made Safrochain, first of all, accessible, and also on our side, we wanted to focus more on the applications, on the business solutions, instead of spending resources on the technical side again.
All right. That's kind of clear. That's kind of good answer. And for the next one, I will say, why did the choose of the Cosmos SDK and the CometBFT rather than maybe starting from a fork of an AVM chain or built from something from scratch? What did you evaluate, and what did you reject in making such a choice? Again, Janty, for this.
Yes. So when we went for the Cosmos SDK, first of all, we actively went for it. So meaning we did select it in comparison to the other solutions that were are available. First of all, the Cosmos SDK allows you to have many modules that on another chain we require to build them from scratch. So basically, you had a choice between your own sovereign chain readily available through the Cosmos SDK, or you go through an EVM type or other types where we'll ask you to create dApps. Those dApps, if you're to go for the EVM side, you will be relying on an infrastructure that you do not control, meaning you'll be potentially be required to follow the development path of the EVM stack. And with the Cosmos SDK, you're pretty much sovereign. So many parameters you can set them. You can really set them according to your preferences. And beside that ability of creating a layer 1 chain with your own parameters, the CometBFT itself allows you to get a governance module, which in other networks require their own very much development implementation. For some of them, they even have not gotten any governance module included. I know in other chains, the governance has just been put online. So the Cosmos SDK allows you to have the governance module and all other blockchain applications readily available. And on the side of the governance module, for us, it's important because the community has to play a role from the very beginning. So through that module, funds go into a community pool that is only accessible via governance. That itself could have taken us many years to develop if we were to go from scratch. So first of all, going from scratch is just not a very much a reasonable approach, regardless of what you want, because there has been so much development in the blockchain space that if you are not finding something that is applicable to you, it means maybe you are asking for too much, and you should start with something that is readily available and then build from it. So yes, we did start with the Cosmos SDK, but it does not prevent us from developing it further. So it's just the beginning, a stable foundation on which we can build further.
Absolutely. So we do not have to reinvent what has already been built and available within the Web3 space. Okay, and for this one, let's go for a dev. Okay, a dev wants to build something. So what are the kinds of apps that are the best fit for Safrochain, and what technologies and the like skills a dev should know or should have in advance before considering building onto the Safrochain?
So when we speak of devs, they come in different formats, they come in different skill sets, and they also come in different environments. A dev in Africa is not the same as a dev in Japan. It's not the same as a dev in Germany. An African dev will focus on solutions that are pretty much low bandwidth, mobile connection, and also small bandwidth in the response. So meaning that you are not going to develop an application which is heavy and requiring a lot of bandwidth, because it's going to cost you air time. It's going to cost you megas, as they say. So meaning that you won't be able to even use the application if it's data intensive. So first of all, that kind of dev, if they're focusing on mobile applications, of course, we'll also be relying on the mobile SDKs themselves. So somebody who knows how to integrate the mobile SDKs with the Cosmos SDK will be somebody who will thrive on the Cosmos Safrochain ecosystem, meaning that we are looking for devs in Africa that already master the mobile SDKs. Themselves are SDKs. They do have development environments for themselves, and those also could be connected with the Safrochain network. And that kind of dev already has the basic requirements. Further from that, then they can go into looking what Cosmos requires, which is developing in Rust. Rust is a programming language which is popular, accessible. Many books are available. Many online tools are available. You can read the Rust book online, free of charge. So such a developer who has the knowledge on how to develop mobile applications, who reads a little bit about Rust and a bit about Cosmos and the Safrochain, will be ready to develop application on the Safrochain network. And then from there, they have to go and read the documentation. Of course, on the website, safrochain.com, you have the documentation on how to launch an application. However, itself, the network is accessible. You do not need permission to launch your own applications. The same way you'll be submitting a tool online on the blockchain, the same way you can develop applications without requiring the development team to even grant you any special access.
Sure, that's actually awesome. And we will be sharing details, links, and all the documentations that people may need to start building on Safrochain along with this video. So if you're here, we're talking about links and documentations here and there. Don't be scared. We'll be sharing everything along with this video. So my next question is going to Dan. So the Safra chain uses the Cosmos wasn't for smart contracts. Okay, so for a developer coming from, for example, Solidity or EVM, so what does the learning curve look like? Okay, and where are the biggest mental shifts? Where are the biggest shifts into his movement to Safra chain?
Yeah, thank you for this question. I will say the very first place where a developer need to go is the documentation page. Um, in the documentation page, you'll need first to understand what is the architecture behind the Safrochain and how it works. So first of all, I recommend a new developer, even if you are not new, but to start reading the documentation, at least to understand how the Safrochain works in behind. So the link again, as you've just said, they will find the link to the documentation from the website on safrochain.com. From there, you'll need to get a wallet. I think this is the very first step again to test and to see how the network works. Even if you are a developer, so you need to get a wallet. Either you use the dApps like app wallets that exist, like Kepler or Cosmos Station or Leap. You can use any, or even using CLI to get a wallet. So from there, you'll need to, for example, to get some test token. Again, we do have a faucet in our Discord. All developers need faucet to test the transaction, to test the network. You also need to go to block explorers. We do have a lot of block explorers. I can say like more than 10 block explorers from the community members, from validators, and we do have two main block explorers. So you also need to see and to find the block explorer link from the website as well. So from there, you'll need to see the transaction you are trying to do, how or you can read all the data coming from the on-chain transaction. So I think from there you have the general idea of how the Safrochain network is working. But now, after that, if you want to go deeper and now start something real, you'll need at least to connect to the network. You can set up a node locally. It's not mandatory, but if you want to see again or to run local CLI, you'll need to set up a node locally. It doesn't really cost you anything. You can set up a node in your simple computer. No need to use a server in your computer. You are able to set up a node, and then you'll go to the repo, Safrochain repo, to see some sample of code. We do have some sample of code in the GitHub repo, and see how the implementation looks like. And then read if you don't know yet how to build Cosmos WASM smart contract using, for example, Rust. You'll need to read and to learn Rust, and yeah, from there you can use any front end library to start building your first application on Safrochain.
Absolutely, Dan. That's quite helpful. for any people, any devs looking into Safrochain. And my next question will be kind of just emphasizing the one we just answered. So if a dev is discovering Safrochain right now today, okay, let's just walk us through the journey from the thing he will have to install first, okay? So he may deploy his app. Where do they start, and what does the full path look like? He may start here, he may go to this kind of maybe a GitHub repo, he can do this, or he can connect with this and start his journey. A kind of process, a walk out though the process, how he can start and where he can get the things to start with.
Yeah, so first of all, Genty have just said that Safrochain is built using Cosmos SDK. So we can say Safrochain is a Cosmos SDK chain. So the Cosmos tool set is the core skill, I can say. So you'll need to use Cosmos libraries. You'll need to understand the Cosmos libraries. When you're talking about building and developing on Safrochain, we can't uh, bypass Cosmos tools. So I'll recommend to also read Cosmos toolset. That will be the core skill. And the 10 CLI of Safrochain is global, is the same as the global chains on Cosmos. So if you know how to use, for example, Juno, you'll use the same command line using in Safrochain by just changing Juno D to, for example, Safrochain D. So it's almost the same. It's kind of sharing knowledge in the ecosystem. So all the developers from other chains in the Cosmos ecosystem, they are ready from now to build on Safrochain. Second, for smart contract writing using Cosmos, which means you'll need to understand Rust. I've just talked about Rust after and saying that Rust is not that complicated language to learn. So you'll need to learn Rust to be able to build smart contracts. And the front side, you'll use any framework you use to build in the Web3 ecosystem, even other Web2, like from Web2 to Web3, you can use any like library stack, like TypeScript, or you can use those JavaScript, TypeScript, React, anything. Plus, in behind using the library like Cosmos.js, that will help you to integrate Cosmos very quickly. Cosmos library to integrate Cosmos tools in your project. So if you have built before in any Cosmos 10 in the ecosystem, I think you are a Safrochain developer from now, so you don't need to learn anything else from Safrochain.
Yes, actually, this is uh, let me say even the most important part of this video. I'm going to drop another question that goes in the same sense. So, what developer tools and infrastructure are currently available within the Safrochain ecosystem?
Yeah. When we'll be talking about tools available, even if it's not a tool, I emphasize that you'll need to pass by the documentation of Safrochain, because from there you'll get everything can be listed here, like the faucet, how to get some test tokens in the Discord, how to do so. The second, how to connect to the network using the public RPC, because if you want to communicate or to like if you want to connect to the on-chain nodes, you need to use public RPC and REST endpoint. So those public RPCs and REST again, you'll find them in the documentation. So you can confirm by testing your first CLI like transaction, or like querying balances using the public RPC in your computer without even setting up any node. In the next step, you'll need to write, for example, your very first smart contract. From there, I understand that you already know how to use CLI, so you've tested many small transactions, doing a governance action, doing sending a simple asset. You can even like create your own asset like native tokens by using factory module. So if you want to go deeper and start building smart contracts, you'll need to compile your Rust code to generate WASP contracts and test it locally. You can test it locally. I mean, when I'm talking about locally, I mean you can have the Rust locally, but using the public RPCs to test them, to deploy, to test, to instantiate, to call it, to watch any event in the smart contract. And next, you'll need to go in the Explorer and see if what I'm doing locally is really visible in the public chain, like testnet chain. So from there, I think you are ready to build a very first app, even using like mobile application, because we are focusing on mobile app. So for mobile developers, they already know how to build their simple or normal application. They will just need to add a very simple step, connecting wallets like Kepler in your mobile application. We are doing it with Safrimba, because we are building the mobile app of Safrimba. So you can connect the wallet in your DApp using the Cosmos tools we already have. And the next one will be to query actions and events on chain using public RPCs and REST again. And for those who may need to know how to use RPC and REST, we do have a Swagger for developers. They know what is Swagger, so it's kind of a documentation for a specific endpoint. So you understand what parameters to pass in an endpoint, how to use a specific endpoint. So all those information are in the documentation right now. So everything are ready to start building for a new developer, or even like to build a very first application from the on-chain to the front-end side.
Thank you for the useful tips and all the dev things. That was what Swagger. I'll be learning what it is after this video. Greetings to Olivier and Josephine who are listening here on this video. My next question. Let's turn now to the SAF token. So Dan, tell us about the SAF token. What is the supply? How is the allocation prepared? How is the inflation policy? The bucket peg stablecoin design, and what are the levers a builder should understand before designing an app that uses the SAF token?
Yeah, I may give the half of the answer. I'm pretty sure that Genty will help me, but SAF token is the native token of the blockchain Safrochain. So we can say is the basic token we have. And now on top of SAF token, a developer can decide to use another type of token, which can be an IBC token. So what is an IBC token? It means you are bringing a token from another chain to Safrochain, and you are able to use it. We've done that kind of actions using Safrimba now, because in Safrimba you can see we are using USDC, but the USDC is coming from Noble, which is another blockchain. So that's the second type of token. And again, not only on Safrochain, you can also bring Safrochain native token, which is Saf, out of Safrochain, using it, for example, in Juno, in another blockchain, but you'll need to make sure that there is a NIBC connection with that chain. And the third one is now factory tokens. If you want, for example, to customize and to use a very specific tokens in your project, in your, like, you have an idea of building another layer of token, you can still mint your own token and specify total supply and stuff like how many tokens do I need to mint. And in the same context, you also have like NFTs, which are also tokens, but I want to go deeper in that side. In that side, I'll just give the mic to Genty. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dan. So the token is an important element of the network. Of course, the SAF, as Dan says, is the primary token. It's a native token. You can also create other forms of tokens within the network, as you mentioned. Some of them are already available through the factory module within the SDK, which we have a token factory. Once you create those token factories on your own freely, you also create native tokens that will be read as is from the network. However, there is also an option of creating multi-chain tokens. Those ones are created through the CW20 framework, which are smart contract tokens. Those ones have more functionalities. They give you the ability to revoke them, reduce them, block them, depending on how your smart contract is. It's pretty much like a regulation ready token in that sense. Now, on the side of the SAF token allocation, we went with a Genesis allocation of 1 billion token for the SAF token. We went for an inflation rate between 12% and 2%, with a bonded value of, meaning a staked percentage of 55%. Why did we go low? Simply for us to basically motivate another aspect of the chain. We'll talk about the AVM. So meaning we want the tokens to be mostly on the market. We want the tokens to not be bonded if they don't need to be bonded. We do not want tokens that sit on chain. Besides, the value of a bonded token, meaning when you're on a proof of stake network, you do not actually need that many tokens being on chain to be secure. Because remember, the non-bonded tokens are the ones that could have been used for governance, right? So meaning even if 55% of your tokens are bonded, it means the majority of them are already bonded, meaning even if a bad actor was to act, they will have still to command more than a percentage of that already high number. So we already know that with 55, first of all, we're motivating more liquidity, more tokens on the market, not tokens held in a bondage or staked state. And also the rate we set in terms of lower inflation, 2%, is actually in line with what a nation will do. So basically, a network with 2% allows for population growth, allows for economic activities, while again at 12%, you're already limiting the inflation rate. Once we start with a bonded rate of 55, then we start the genesis in the middle, around maybe 7%. That's where it will start. And then from it, if we are reaching above the 55% bondage, which is likely, we won't go higher. We will be going down towards a reduction of the inflation rate in the first years of the genesis. So we start with an average inflation rate of 7%, and then from it, then the fees go into the validators who distribute to their delegators. A portion which you set as 10% goes to also the community pool, meaning that the one which is allocated via the governance, the SAF token will be required to pass a resolution, a governance proposal. That's the key role of the SAF token as well. And through those other tokens you can create, the SAF token itself may not be used for all the dApps. Like it could be used to pay fees, as Dan also will elaborate. It could also be delegated. there are fees that can be basically sponsored. You can use the application without paying fees if you are sponsored by the network. And then the other tokens can now be used for the dApps. So that, for example, if it's a tool such as Safrimba, you can create your own token which is pegged to your local currency, and then that will act, of course, as a local stablecoin, and that can be used in the applications. As today we are using the USDC on the Safrimba network. So the tokenomics is pretty much the 1 billion allocation, and you can go online to see the full allocation of the 1 billion Genesis allocation. And then from it, of course, we have the inflation, we have the team allocations, we have ecosystem development allocations, as well as the airdrops, which are everybody's favorite. So you do have an allocation on mainnet launch data, the airdrop, and it was discussed within the Telegram group and as well as on the Discord channel about an amount of 40 million SAF that will be allocated in the first phase of the airdrop. So look out for those for sure. I hope it answered your question, Martin.
Yes, absolutely. It answers the question, and I am fully locked in for the airdrop. Let's see how it goes. And as you've been talking of the SAF token, the utility, and all the stuff around, let's now move to Safrimba. This one of the dApps that will be going live on Safrochain. So check out inside Safrimba. How does a non-chain tontine actually work as a Cosmos contract? How are the contributions, the payout, the disputes handling, and all the stuff? And how does the mobile money, as you know, we're in Africa, mobile money is holding a very important percentage of transactions. And how does the mobile money integration fit alongside all of this? This is for Jancy again.
I'll let Dan start with it, with the parameters and all the smart contract integration, and then I can talk more about what Safrimba can become and what are the potential for the application.
Okay, thank you, Genty. The first part was about the smart contract of Safrimba, right? Yeah, okay. So for developers, the smart contract of Safrimba is open source, and it's even like right now on our GitHub. So I would start by saying we welcome all the contribution from developers who want to participate and contribute. So in the smart contract, we have in GitHub, in Cosmos, we do have a lot of advantages building smart contracts on Cosmos. On Cosmos, we do have a lot of advantages by building smart contracts using Cosmos. But again, for developers especially, I'll just go a little bit out of the Safrimba smart contract itself. I just want to emphasize something about smart contracts. In our blockchain, developers are able to build the smart contract and start earning some extra reward, or I can say extra incomes from the transaction being passed in the smart contract you built. So that is something developer should know. So for example, I'm a developer and I want to build, for example, a smart contract for solution. And I know that smart contract can be really used in everyday's lives. And I decide to build the smart contract. Maybe on top of it, I just add a very small front end to make sure that it's easier for users to use it. They can build anything. And from that, you have up to 25% of the transaction fee passing in the smart contract, which will be allocated to the developers team. It automatically, it's on chain. We don't need to authorize you to do anything. It's permissless. So once you build it, you can automate by saying, okay, this is the wallet of the developer team. And this is something developers should know and read about it and read more about how to do it because it's an opportunity. So for smart contracts in Cosmos, for Safrimba, it's open source. and every developer can like go watch it, audit it, and start contributing. It's built on using Rust, and that's it I can say about the smart contract of Safrimba right now at this moment, unless we go deeper and deeper in the parameters on how we build it. And yeah, that's it about the smart contract. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. So yes, Martin, as Dan said, the Cosmos script is available for review online. It's an open source project as well. It's just maintained by the foundation for fees accrual as well. The Safrimba ecosystem is it's a test for us. It's going to be quite one of the tools we both get challenged on, but it's also going to be rewarding. So it's going to be a very much a learning experience, which I think we have already spent a lot of time learning and practicing. It's a tool we started developing and designing a long time ago. We set out very early when we were trying to launch the network that we could not just launch an empty ecosystem. We had to have a heavy use application, and Safrimba fits the bill. And even the current version of it, it's still elementary. Currently, it's very much the circle. You create them, people contribute, and then they withdraw. However, it's a fully integrated financial ecosystem. As you mentioned, there is the mobile application integration with Safrimba, which makes it accessible for people who already have their funds on their mobile wallet. So imagine yourself having your fund on your mobile wallet with no benefit to it. You see it. As long as you don't spend it, it's sitting there. But if it was on the Safrimba, you'll be saving while also getting other members to save with you. And then through that, you'll be getting larger amounts available for your projects. And based on the framework we've implemented, you can also be getting some fees generated on your allocation. And through that ecosystem as well, there are many ways that value that is sitting in mobile wallets can be used, of course, to generate more yield. So Safrimba is the beginning of a financial ecosystem that will keep on growing. More currencies incorporated, more currencies supported, more local fiat transferred into the digital ecosystem, meaning, of course, more applications. So I look forward to Safrimba being like one of the dApps that Africans will be using on a daily basis. And if we make it very simple, if we make it very easy to use, they will not hesitate to use it. So it's on us to raise to the challenge. And once we rise to that challenge and we meet it, I'm sure people will be grateful to have seen something that is truly African and which is in the world. It exists everywhere under different names, but on the blockchain, it does not yet exist.
Absolutely, Genty. Safrimba is something that it has to offer real utility within Africa, since this is quite a traditional thing our mothers are doing, and it exists everywhere, as you say, but not on the blockchain. And Safrochain is taking that to the blockchain. So that sends to my next question. So as Safrochain measures success with the active velocity multiplier rather than the TVL. So I want you to explain that to a developer, what it means, and what does it change about what we should be building as an ecosystem. So anyone can go first and still can be complementary.
So I can go ahead and give out the implication as a developer. First of all, is conceptually what it is. So the active velocity multiplier entails the application to be quick and used many times. So for example, the active velocity multiplier promotes the usage of paying fees in the system, meaning you are transacting on the blockchain, even for the most common applications, like you want to check the news through an Oracle, you want to book an appointment booking that appointment should not cost you too much fees. You basically have to be able to click and use an application without thinking too much about how costly it is. So an application that you can use 10 times a day is different from an application that you can only use once. So what are the implications? When you promote the AVM, the active velocity multiplier, you already plan for an application that is going to be used many times in a day. When you have the TVL, when it is logged, the total value locked, you only need that application to be run once. Let's say you're going to create a pool and you're going to get yields on it. Even if you pay $10 for that one-time allocation of those funds that are going to sit on that application, it can be worth it. You can even pay $10, $20. But if you had to do that application, that step every day, every morning, then you're going to kind of think about, no, I'm not really able to use that application because it's going to cost me, the fees alone are going to cost me the whole amount that I'm already putting into this pool, right? But with the active velocity multiplier, for example, the Safrimba network, the Safrimba DApp processes many transactions on-chain. It does not rely on off-chain value. It does not need to because the transaction fees are very low. So meaning itself, Safrimba has to be optimized to check those values also on-chain, yes, but a fraction of the cost. If it was through the total value lock ecosystem, they will not care about the fees because remember the highest value dApps don't need you to move back and forth funds. You just leave your funds in some place, you stake them once, you never touch them, you're good. But that destroys an ecosystem because nobody wants to move his money, nobody wants to move his coins, whereas through the AVM, we're promoting people to use their coins. So as a developer, yes, you do have to be thoughtful about it. You have to make your transactions as optimized as possible. Cheaply, already through the Safrochain network will help you because we put gas fees quite low to promote the AVM. The inflation also promotes the AVM because we do not require a high bondage percentage for the inflation to start going down. So already at the framework level, we have encouraged the AVM. Now you as a developer, you have to make sure that your applications is optimized for maximizing those lower fees. Make sure that it's better to have small chunks of your module executing instead of having very heavy script running for the same outcome. So make them short, make them cheap, and then you will gain more users on your app.
Absolutely. And if Dan has anything to add on that, feel free to jump in.
I think Genty have given the very useful explanation, and I'm not saying anything to add on top of that. Thank you, Genty.
Absolutely. That was clear and helpful. So maybe something to end this. So what are actually the, if you can check in terms of opportunities, what opportunities are actually available for builders that may want to come into the Safrochain ecosystem, and what are the first 3 actions someone should take this week to start building on Safrochain? Again,
Yes,
you can come in again.
okay, Genty, you want to start or I can? Oh, okay. So the few very steps a new developer can start this week is first of all to open the documentation and have a look on what is Safrochain and how it works, and of course have at least a wallet and test token inside, and test the very first transaction using CLI. Of course, because when we are talking about developer, you need to understand how it works in behind the scene. But when talking about opportunities and grants, we are planning to have grant for developers, and for contributors, developers, we are planning to build a community of developers with bug bounties and and reward for contributors. So we can say the mainnet will just be the start of everything. because we are planning very good opportunities for new developers and developers who will be contributing on top of Safrochain. Either you are building your own project or you are contributing to the core project in the foundation repo, you'll be compensated and you'll be granted to the work you are doing. And yeah, I can say join us as a developer and we'll welcome you and we'll be happy to work together and build the future of Safrochain together. Thank you.
And if I can add on that is, if you're a developer, you will know maybe that any new ecosystem always rewards the first mover. So let's say you are looking at the Safrochain ecosystem. It is busy with Safrimba. It does not have NFTs. It does not have meme coins. So you have an opportunity yourself to kind of start something on the Safrochain network that is known to succeed. All the chains that launch have activities that are good for people who want to explore the network. So look into those venues and be free to develop on Safrochain if you're a developer already someplace. Bridge your application to the Safrochain network. As Dan said, any development on any Cosmos SDK layer 1 should be moved as is to Safrochain with not much development other than integration of the native tokens. So as a developer, anybody who wants to try, I encourage you. And also if you're a developer who is based in a developing nation, in Africa, in Southeast Asia, or some other country which is in the emerging markets, look out for the Safrochain Foundation's granting program so that you can basically get an opportunity for funding in your DApp. And I think it's a good opportunity for anyone who is in Africa, who has been a dev, who wants to explore Web3 applications, because we'll make it easy. We'll try to make it easy, but you'll also have to do your homework. As Dan said, you start with the documentation.
Absolutely, absolutely. I consider that as the word of wisdom to come to the end of this session. So thank you, Genty and Dan, for sharing your insights and helping us better understand the opportunities available within the Safrochain ecosystem. To everyone who will be watching this video, we hope this session has given you a clear understanding of where to start and how to become part of the growing community of builders around Safrochain. So if you found this discussion useful, be sure to explore the documentations, join the community channels, and start experimenting with the tools that we've been sharing here today. As we will be sharing this video with all the important links you will need to start your journey and start building on the Safrochain blockchain. So the best way to learn is to start building. So thank you for everyone who joined us, and we will be having other sessions like this. If there is no any closing words from our amazing speakers, we'll be closing here.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Martin, for this session.
Thank you, and we'll see you on the next session.